Why dieting fails and what actually works. How many of you have ever tried a diet? Maybe keto, maybe intermittent fasting or juice cleanse, and felt great for a few weeks, but then ended up gaining some of the weight back. Now, millions of people every year attempt diets that promise fast results, but here's the truth. Most of those diets don't work long term. Studies show that nearly everyone regains the weight, and sometimes even more than they lost. My name is Adrian, and today I'm going to talk about why dieting is not a reliable long-term solution and why shifting to a sustainable lifestyle change is much healthier and shows more effective solution. So to prepare for this speech, I reviewed research published in peer-reviewed journals, including studies from the American Journal of Physiology, the BMJ, and obesity reviews. What I found is that while diets might help you lose weight fast, they set most people up to fail long term. So here's what we'll cover. First, I'll explain why diets are so popular, even though they often fail. Second, we'll look at how dieting affects our bodies and our mental health. And finally, I'll show you what actually works for lasting weight management and better overall health. So let's start by looking at why dieting isn't really the answer. So diets usually involve some form of restriction. Maybe you cut carbs, maybe you count calories, maybe you skip meals, or you do long time like intermittent fasting without eating. The idea is always the same. You lose weight by limiting what or how much you eat. And let's be honest, people love the promise of quick results and hope to lose 5 pounds in a week really quickly. But what most people don't realize is that the body sees dieting as a threat. So according to research by Dr. Paul McLean, when you restrict calories, your metabolism slows down. Your body produces more hunger hormones like ghrelin and fewer satiety hormones like leptin. In other words, your body fights back against weight loss. And because of this, most people can't keep the weight off, even when they stay on the diet. That brings us to the next point, how dieting often leads to failure and harm. Most diets fail long-term and can harm your physical and mental health as well. A major review published in Obesity Reviews found that most people regain about 1/3 of the weight that they lose within a year. Within 3 to 5 years, almost everyone regains all of it, and sometimes even more. This cycle of losing and gaining that weight, it's known as yo-yo dieting, and it's not just frustrating, it's dangerous to the body. Weight cycling has been linked to a higher risk of heart disease, insulin resistance, and even early death. And the damage isn't just physical, it affects our mental health as well. Think about it. You're constantly thinking about food, counting everything, feeling guilty if you cheat. It can kind of get exhausting and be a lot on your brain. Over time, people start developing disordered eating habits, like either binge eating or being obsessed with certain foods, and their self-esteem takes a hit sometimes. According to the authors of Intuitive Eating, this cycle of guilt and restriction leads to long-term emotional damage, and it worsens our relationship with food. So what's the alternative? That's where things like lifestyle changes come in. So let's be clear, giving up on dieting doesn't mean giving up on your health at all. In fact, research shows that sustainable lifestyle changes like eating well-balanced meals, moving your body regularly and exercising, and practicing mindfulness, those things lead to lasting weight loss and better health outcomes long-term. One major meta-analysis it showed that people who combined diet and exercise, they lost more weight and they kept it off longer than those who only dieted. Another study published in the BMJ showed that when people were part of a structured lifestyle program with regular support, like via a peer, via a partner, a coach, group support, they lost twice as much weight as people who had less frequent help than them. Even newer approaches like intuitive eating, which kind of encourages people to eat when they're hungry and stop when they're full. They recognize the hunger feeling, or they recognize the fullness or they recognize, when they are hungry, that's without restriction, and it shows positive results. So people feel better, they maintain their weight more easily, and they improve their overall well-being and mental health. Other things that I've researched through this that shows positive impacts is the Mediterranean lifestyle. So not just a diet, but a way of living. It kind of emphasizes whole foods, movement, eating socially with people. These types of things, it shows long-term studies not only maintained that healthy weight, but also saw improvements in like long-term and heart health and longevity, staying away or kind of keeping diabetes and cardiac health right, and like out of any negative adverse health effects. So, bringing everything to a close, we've seen that dieting may give short-term results, but our biology and the behavior make long-term success pretty difficult. Most people end up regaining that weight, and things like balanced nutrition, regular movement, and supportive habits with peers, social groups, partners, a coach, that's the path to losing health. So the next time you're tempted by a diet promising fast results, just remember this. Your body is not the enemy, and health isn't about willpower. It's about consistency, compassion, sustainability, and intuitive eating. So you can start small, eat healthy, eat whole foods, stay away from processed foods, things like that. Move your body every day and get help when you need it. Because in the long run, healthy habits will take you much further than a diet ever could. Thank you.